What's up everybody? Welcome to my second Nexus 6 gaming demo. Like last time, we are rocking stock Android 5.0.1 Lollipop. Unlike last time, we'll be pitting the Nexus 6 performance against Apple's latest and greatest and biggest love child yet, the iPhone 6 Plus running iOS 8.1.2. We'll also look at battery life because we might as well. Here's how it's gonna work. Both phones were turned on about a minute ago. They are running no apps in the background and both have approximately 100% of their battery. I'll game for 5 minutes and then we'll look at how much battery remains. We'll be turning airplane mode on for both devices. That's because one of these does not have a SIM card and being connected to a mobile network requires more energy. First off is Air Supremacy, a pretty airplane arcade simulation game with an entertaining storyline. Oh, and in case that you're cheering for the Nexus 6 so you won't be disappointed multiple times, you should know that the iPhone 6 Plus beat the Nexus 6 on loading times and performance 4 out of 5 times during these tests. How bad is it? I'll try my best to navigate around the Nexus 6's extended wait times and have both games start the action at around the same time. In order to do that, I'll be giving the Nexus 6 a head start of a few seconds. The tutorial we'll be running places the airplane on a random spot in a very large map, so both phones will display slightly different landscapes. It may be hard to spot on camera, but the Nexus 6 runs this game a bit smoother than the iPhone 6 Plus. The plane looks a little more detailed, the mountains a bit smoother, and the draw distance is also superior on the Nexus 6. One little difference I noticed is that if you look closely at the turbine area of the plane on the iPhone 6 Plus, you will notice a nice little effect absent on the Android version. A little blur which mimics steam released during combustion. The trend here is that the iPhone 6 Plus screen throws off a cool shade of blue over everything, whereas the Nexus 6 delivers warmer, punchy colors. The iPhone 6 Plus screen has a more true-to-life whites. The Nexus 6 gives you perfect blacks. Myself, I prefer oversaturated colors. Wait times aside, not a lot of difference here between one or the other. So, 5 minutes later, let's see how our batteries are doing. The iPhone 6 Plus shows a mysterious 100% and the Nexus 6 shows 97%. Let's move on to the room one. Behold the wait times. Look at that. The boxes are different. The one on top looks like it's made out of dark mahogany. The one below looks like it's made out of marble. I didn't notice this before, and I don't know whether this is a conscious design choice or whether the room applies random textures to their objects. But there are other differences here and there, and I thought it was interesting. I think the OLED screen on the Nexus 6 really favors this game. The warm colors do an excellent job at creating the illusion that the player is inside a dark room, alone with an old, mysterious box puzzle thing. As you can see, both phones seems to be on par regarding performance and level of detail. The iPhone 6 Plus's version, however, seems to have some extra light effects. Look at the floor, for example. That's not just the brightness throwing up the camera sensor. Alright, 5 minutes. How are we doing on the battery department? 95%. And the Galaxy S3, whoops, wrong phone. The iPhone 6 Plus is at 97%. Not bad. Next up is everyone's favorite loose physics freemium / pay-to-win racing game Asphalt 8. Asphalt's iOS version was one of the first games to use Apple's developer tool known as Metal, which enables developers to maximize the graphic potential of their apps. So, the iOS version adds extra eye candy. Blur effects, lens flares, more reflections, that kind of thing. The iPhone 6 Plus beats the Nexus 6 on loading times. Again. Let's see if we can sync this up. Did you notice the fire left by the tires? Nevada, as this track is called, is a rather simple one compared to the extravagant Tokyo, for example. There you can see in much more clarity the bloom effects and whatnot present on the iOS version. In case you're wondering, both phones are a bit warm to the touch. They are not uncomfortable to hold, but the iPhone seems to be doing a better job at dissipating the heat produced by the GPU. Both versions perform about the same. Both run buttery smooth. Yep. Alright, let's see those numbers. 92% and 94%. Next on the queue is Modern Combat 5 Blackout, a current-gen benchmark first-person shooting game. This game requires an always-on internet connection to work, so I've turned on Wi-Fi for both phones. Here too the wait times are night and day. I don't think this shows up very well on camera, but the iPhone version runs much smoother than the Android version. Once again you see the differences in color and warmth. Yellowish above, bluish below. Definitely grab this game on iOS. It didn't look this smooth when I played it on the Nvidia Shield Portable a while back. Okay, time's up. Time for a battery check. That's 88% on Android land and 89% here on the iDevice. The last game of the night is Need for Speed Most Wanted. When I last played this game on Android, I noticed the music was skipping. No such problem this time around. What I did notice this time around, however, was something else. The iOS version runs far smoother than the Android version does. This time I'm not placing the fault on the Nexus 6. I have a feeling that this is an artificial limitation imposed on Android devices. I remember getting about the same frames per second on the Galaxy Note 3, the HTC M8, and the LG G3. It works and looks great, but now looking at the iOS version, man, we've been missing out. I don't know if you noticed, but Most Wanted actually loaded faster on the Nexus 6 than on the iPhone. It may be worth mentioning that I haven't been closing the games we have tested so far. They all are, or should be, in the RAM of the devices. One of the great things about the Nexus 6 and many other current-gen flagship Android devices is the monstrous amount of RAM they have inside. More RAM means you can have more apps open at the same time, which translates into faster app switching. Well, 5 minutes. Let's check the batteries one more time. 85% for the Nexus 6. Estimated time before total death, if we continue doing what we're doing, 3 hours and 23 minutes. Current temperature of the battery 107 Fahrenheit or 41.6 degrees Celsius. Fun fact, that's slightly above the temperature at which fever in adults becomes dangerous. It's a fine temperature for a battery though. The iPhone 6 Plus shows 87%. What I'm trying to do here is obtaining a similar estimate to what we saw on Android, but I'm going to be disappointed. Well, 85% versus 87%. You draw your own conclusions. Thank you all for watching part 2 of the Nexus gaming demo. If you want to see another head-to-head between the Nexus 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus, drop me a line or leave a comment. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. See you around.